Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I'm Gift or Gete in a major story. President Muhammadu Buhari on Saturday has directed the $21 million out of the pledge of $100 million be released to the multinational joint task force. Also in this program, the Kwara Concerned Citizens has warned against disrespecting the APC National Publicity Secretary, Lai Mohammed. The Lagos State chapter of the People's Democratic Party challenges Governor Akinwumi Ambode to declare his assets. And outside Nigeria, an explosive-laden truck went up near a school district of Syria's central province of Homs on Sunday, leaving 27 people. Good to have you stay on with us now. Details of the headlines and other stories. President Muhammadu Buhari on Sunday urged African leaders to place their interests of their countries above narrow personal interest. He gave the charge while chairing the African Union Peace and Security Council meeting at the ongoing AU Summit in Johannesburg, South Africa. The president noted that as the meeting of PSC focused on the situations of South Sudan and Burundi, it required the leaders to put the situations in both countries in proper context. He said the people of the continent are suffering while their political leaders are bickering among themselves. He noted that the continent has suffered with conflicts of diverse forms, including the crisis in Burkina Faso, Mali, Liberia, Central African Republic, South Sudan, and more recently in Burundi. The Nigerian president ordered that the leaders must make deliberate efforts to save the face of Africa. President Muhammadu Buhari on Saturday had directed that $21 million out of the pledge of $100 million which Nigeria made to the multinational joint task force be released within the next 1 week. Buhari disclosed this while chairing a meeting of the African Union Peace Security Council at the ongoing 25th AU Summit in Johannesburg, South Africa. He said he gave the directive based on the decision of the recent extraordinary summit of the Lake Chad Basin Commission and Benin Republic that $30 million should be immediately made available to the multinational joint task force, which is saddled with the responsibility of fighting the Boko Haram terrorist group. He said the global nature of terror requires all countries to act in brotherhood and partnership and wage war against agents of evil. Following the wrangling between some leaders within the All Progressives Congress on the emergence of Senator Bukola Saraki as the Senate President and Yakubu Dogara as the Speaker, House of Representatives, the Kwara Concerned Citizens has warned anyone to desist from their disrespectful ways against the APC National Publicity Secretary Lai Mohammed. The group affirms that the statements made by the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Lai Mohammed, is not his own but that of the party, since he articulates the position of his party at many levels, including intra- and inter-party national as well as international. The group says he is expected at all times to put the interest of the party above his own personal interest. It says it will be unfair, illogical to conclude that Lai Mohammed's statement conferring the immediate reaction of his party to the elections in the National Assembly means he is opposed to the election of his king's man, Bukola Saraki, as the President of the Senate. Officers of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice and the National Security Advisor have denied involvement in the recovery of the money looted from the nation's treasury by a former head of state, the late General Sani Abacha. This was in contrast to the claim by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, which in an affidavit it filed with respect to a suit before Justice Ahmed Mohammed of Federal High Court in Abuja, which attributed the custody of the information of the recovery money to the officers of the Attorney General of the Federation and the National Security Advisor. The counterclaims by the key government officers are revealed in court papers filed in the suit seeking under the provisions of the Freedom of Information Act. Detailed information on the looted money so far recovered from Abacha, the plaintiff, a non-governmental organization, Legal Defense and Assistance Project, had 4 years ago, in 2011, instituted the suit with the EFCC as a sole defendant after the Commission refused its request for the information. Decision taken by the Governor of Kaduna State, Nasser El-Rufai, to reduce the number of ministries in Kaduna State to 13 from the erstwhile number of 24 has attracted criticisms from a section of the public, especially the immediate past Attorney General of Kaduna State, Shehu Garba. The duo are of the opinion that the governor needed the State House of Assembly permitting him to tinker with a number of ministries. Meanwhile, speaking in a press release signed by the former House of Representative candidate Jema Sanga Federal Constituency, Muta Mai Samari said the governor acted in compliance with the provisions of Section 1921 of the Constitution and not that he acted arbitrarily. He says budgetary provisions, for example, are made and announced before same is presented to the legislature for deliberation and passage into law. They should criticize objectively and desist from allowing political considerations to becloud their senses of judgment. The Lagos State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has called on Governor Akinwumi Ambode to publicly declare his assets. He was asked by the major opposition party in the state to do so on or before June 29th. In a statement issued on Sunday by its publicity secretary, Taufik Ghani, the PDP charged Ambode to personally make public his assets in the media, and as at when sworn in as the present governor of the state. According to the PDP, if the governor fails to take up his moral challenge, he will therefore be labeled governor pretender throughout his tenure. The PDP posits that the necessity for the present governor of Lagos State to make public his assets is more ignited by the huge foreign and local debt of nearly R1 trillion now left behind by the past governor, who has been linked to many personal bank accounts and property within and outside the country. It's CoreTV Prime Time News. We'll take a break now and be back with more stories. Stay with us.
Afghan have naked, that's a sign of protest, saying that things are not good.
Women share the most amazing thoughts
When it's close to the time, our people will protest naked.
on national issues.
That was their own point.
That was an accident. That is different.
And they do it
Politics is about being a servant.
passionately,
Without a woman, there will be no success at all.
sharing the adorable word of women
There are some women who have what it takes.
in politics,
Margaret Thatcher, Iron Lady. When she's too soft, she's too soft.
only on CoreTV News.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, a recap of our major headlines. President Muhammadu Buhari on Saturday has directed $21 million out of the pledge of $100 million be released to the multinational joint tax force. The Kwara Concerned Citizens has warned against disrespecting the APC National Publicity Secretary, Lai Mohammed. The People's Democratic Party challenges Governor Akinwumi Ambode to declare his assets. Now, do not forget that you can also catch us on our social media platforms on Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News. on Twitter at CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, it's youtube.com/CoreTV_News. And now to Kwara State, where the Kwara State chapter of the Independent Petroleum Marketers has called on the federal government to deregulate the oil sector, with emphasis on the pipeline, stating that the maintenance contract let out by the past administration was ambiguous. Making this call in Ilorin, Kwara State capital, the association says the maintenance contract, instead of securing the pipelines, has resulted in more pipeline vandalization, which will usually wind up a thorough investigation. Rashid has more.
The resolve of the new administration to look into the corruption perpetrated in the oil sector is no doubt sending signals across the subsectors as the stakeholders are coming up with suggestions in making the sector transparent. Also, as Muhammadu Buhari-led government says the Port Harcourt refinery is set to resume operation, calling on the government to revisit the issue of frequent pipeline vandalism and the maintenance contract by the past administration. The Kwara State chairman of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association, Olariwaju Okonlawo, noted that the issue of pipeline vandalization could be best tackled by private companies who have expertise to manage and monitor the pipeline.
Because when we, as of today in Lagos, they are selling 95 naira, and we have transportation costs. The cost of transportation to Ilorin is 250,000. And the PEF will pay us 105. How do we get the argument? Sometimes our truck will be in Lagos for a lot of days before loading. Ilorin depot was designed to be a bridging depot to the north. There are a lot of space, parking space. Even those in Ilorin town, we don't know there is any truck in Ilorin.
With the local production of petroleum products on the way, Olariwaju calls on federal government to repair the Ilorin depot of NNPC, which he said could serve the entire northern state.
The pipeline issue. That is why we are calling for total deregulation. I'm very sure if the pipeline was in the hand of the private sectors, I don't think we have any complaint that the vendors are not allowing them to pump to Ilorin. They're supposed to manage the line so that the product will get to this place. So we urge the government to assist us in that.
The searchlight of Buhari's government is no doubt in the oil sector, and Nigerians eagerly await the outcome of a major policy that will sanitize the sector in days to come.
The Department of Petroleum Resources in Eket, Akwa Ibom State said it had sealed off 30 and suspended 7 filling stations from operation in the state in 1 month over illegal practices. The DPR controller of operations in Eket, Asuko Antai, told the news agency of Nigeria in Eket that the stations were closed for under-dispensing and overpricing of their product. He further said the suspended 7 petrol stations were given products for various stations which were diverted to unknown places. According to Asuko, over 30 petrol stations have been sealed in the last 1 month. He, however, expressed regret that petroleum dealers in some areas still sell the product above the approved pump prices. According to the controller, the culprits are in police detention in the state. The Plateau State House of Assembly has received commendation for the manner it conducted itself in electing the principal officers of the 8th Assembly, which saw the Speaker and Deputy Speaker emerging from different parties. A member of the House representing Shendam constituency, Henry Quinkamp, gave the commendation while speaking in Jos. The report.
The member Henry Yinkwap was speaking on the unique arrangement that saw the emergence of an APC member as a speaker despite the People's Democratic Party having 30 members, while the APC has 11, and this was done to ensure smooth running of the State House of Assembly.
Plateau State House of Assembly, being an important arm of the government, is already exhibiting that unionism, that unity, so that the Plateau project will be a reality.
Yinkwap expressed optimism that the 8th Plateau State Assembly has laid a strong foundation that will engender unity and subsequent development. He added that the State House of Assembly will play its part to ensure that the state gets to the next level.
It was a marriage of union. It was a strong union that laid a foundation for a solid beginning of the 8th Assembly, where the members of PDP, even though they are the majority, conceded and supported us to bring up the Speaker in APC, which is a very good development. In fact, this government is coming as a government of unity to unite.
He, however, called for the emulation of the example of the Plateau State House of Assembly.
The Speaker of the Plateau State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Peter Azi, has called on Plateau residents to pursue peace and peaceful activities vigorously if they desire to see investors come to the state. The Middle Belt state has not known tranquility due to the communal clashes, cattle rustlings, bomb explosions and insurgent attacks that has become part of its civil life. The report.
With the sudden change of former ruling party PDP in Plateau State, many are calling for peace and order to salvage what is left in the state, whose pride is home of peace and tourism. The Speaker of Plateau State House of Assembly, Peter Azi, says it is time for all meaning citizens of the state to work for total attainment of peace and peaceful coexistence.
We should try to be together, have our decks together together so that we assist the government, and then we should be peace-loving people. At least we are yearning for this baby atmosphere we have gotten. We want it to continue, in fact to improve, so that everybody will definitely get investors.
He states due to insurgency ravaging the state, there is need for proper development in the state. He now call on residents to allow peace and tranquility to reign in the state.
Investors cannot come with the atmosphere of crisis. They can only come at the atmosphere of peace. So I'm enjoying every citizen of the state, Nigeria, and anybody that finds himself here to be peace-loving citizen.
Kaduna State Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai have said that his administration will complete the Zaria water project and break whatever jinx is stalling the project that is years behind schedule, despite already costing the state billions of naira. The governor at the weekend, who was speaking when he paid an unscheduled visit to the project site in Zaria, directed the contractors to present to him the comprehensive details of the project. In a statement signed by his special assistant on media and publicity, Samuel Aruan, the governor said the non-completion of the project is also responsible for the perennial lack of water in Zaria town and the neighboring 7 local government areas. Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode on Sunday joined the Banquet of Stars Against Cancer at an awareness program, which was also used to honor the governor, saying that he will continue to support initiatives geared towards saving the lives of the people, especially against cancer. The governor, who spoke through his deputy Oluranti Adebule at the convention center of the Eco Hotels and Suites, Victoria Island, ordered that the war against cancer is for everyone to fight. Governor Ambode says, as a demonstration of its commitment, the state has, through the Ministry of Health, Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation over the years, organized regular cancer awareness and free breastfeeding and cervical cancer screening program for women. A leader of the All Progressives Congress in Bayelsa State's Chief Bere Keme Bodo has urged President Muhammadu Buhari not to interfere in the corruption charges brought against former Bayelsa State Governor Temipre Sylvia. Bodo, who was a former security advisor to Sylvia, said the president should give the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and judges handling the case free hand to try his former boss. Bodo, who spoke during a news conference in Yanagwa on Sunday, said the pre-arrangement of Sylvia by the EFCC on charges bordering on corruption allegations was proper and in order. It says his appeal is that President Muhammadu Buhari will not intervene in the case and that He should give the court and the EFCC free hand to handle the case. The efforts of the Ogun State Police Command to curb cult-related activities in the state, particularly in Ijebu-Ode and its environs, have paid off, as almost 30 suspected cultists have been arrested within 1 week at various locations in Ijebu-Ode of Ogun State. The team on special operation in Ijebu-Ode have carried out raids on many black spots and hideouts, including Fidipote Street, Bubo Village, Ita Lakpo, Imeweje Village, and some hotels in the area, which has led to the arrest of the prime suspects or ringleaders who had been involved in many criminal acts, including series of killings of people in the area and in some other parts of the state. Some of the suspected cultists arrested by the police include Benga Banjo, aka Solution, Akim Fon, Dami, Jawando, real names yet unknown, Kazim, Obalofin, Olua Temilei, Ntunde, aka Majek, Olotu Lukman, aka Eba, Neyo, not real name, and Oladele. Some of the suspects have been arraigned in court in Ijebu-Ode. The United Nations has said an estimated 168 million children around the world, including Nigeria, between the ages of 5 and 14, work, many full-time and many more than half in conditions considered to be hazardous to their health. In a statement issued on Friday to mark the 2015 edition of the World Day Against Child Labour, the UN called for the international community to invest in quality education as a key step in the fight against child employment. According to the UN International Labour Organization, child labour keeps young children out of school, ensuring that their hopes for a more prosperous future remain unrealized. Asia and the Pacific still have the largest total numbers, or at 78 million, but sub-Saharan Africa continues to be the region with the highest incidence of child labour, with some 59 million, or over 21% of the child population. It's CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take another break and be back with other stories. Stay with us.
As news breaks, people don't let events pass without giving their comment or reactions.
When the problem arises in society, these are the people that should be consulted.
To cleanse the corruption in society, we are not to provide information for good life and also security of life and property in this country.
The academic society have the loudest voice on this platform.
Whether you call it a sovereign national conference or a national conference, it's about the people of Nigeria.
There should be a change in power. In any way they can do it.
I think there's a script already.
Every Tuesday at 8:45 p.m. on this station. From the Ivory Tower, a must-watch for the learning minds.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Welcome back. Now, outside Nigeria, Burundi Minister of Foreign Affairs Alain Nwamite said on Saturday that his country was ready to hold elections next month. Nyamitwe was speaking told Xinhua on the sidelines of the African Union Summit in Johannesburg on Saturday. He said he was optimistic that the AU would give green light for his country's plan to hold the elections. However, some opposition parties are insisting that President Pierre Nkurunziza should not be to seek a third term in office. This prompted street protests and a failed coup in the country last month. The crisis in Burundi is one of the issues expected to dominate proceedings at AU summit. The opposition and civil society say Nkurunziza's attempt to run for a third term in office contravenes the country's constitution, which sets a 2-term limit for a president. An explosive-laden truck went out near a school in a pro-government district of Syria's central province of Homs on Sunday, leaving 27 people wounded. A monitor group and the official Syrian TV reported the car exploded near the Al-Buhuru school in the Al-Nuza neighborhood while students were taking exams. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said the UK-based watchdog group, which tracks the war in Syria, said confirmed reports indicates the falling of casualties, but without placing a number. Meanwhile, the official Syrian TV cited preliminary information as indicating that 27 people were injured in the blast, which it said was caused by a body-trapped truck that ripped through Wadi al-Dabi Street in Al-Nuza. Rebels in Homs have repeatedly targeted pro-government districts, mainly those inhabited by minority groups that back the government with explosive devices, rockets and explosive-laden vehicles. Mali and Senegal, the two remaining African teams at the ongoing 2015 FIFA Under-20 World Cup in New Zealand early on Sunday, caused major upset at the competition, qualifying for the semi-finals with wins over stronger opponents. Mali defeated European soccer powerhouse Germany 4-3 on penalties after they tied 1-1 in regulation time in their quarter-final encounter in Christchurch. On the other hand, Senegal made short work of Uzbekistan 1-0 in Wellington and qualified to meet Brazil, five-time winner 1953, 1985, 1993, 2003 and 2011. In the semi-finals, Brazil have also been runner-up thrice, 1991, 1995 and 2009, and third-place finishers in 1977, 1989 and 2005. They defeated Portugal 3-1 on penalties after drawing 0-0 in regulation play on Sunday. Mali will take on Serbia, which qualified after defeating the US 6-5 on penalties following a 0-0 draw at full and extra time. Nigerian defender David Onya died on Saturday after collapsing on the pitch during a friendly match between his Malaysian club T-Team and Kelantan. Local media said the T-Team skipper, 30, collapsed 3 minutes into the match in Kota Baru and was taken to hospital. T-Team CEO Sharizan Zain said Onya did not receive medical treatment quick enough. According to him, speaking with the News Straits Times, Onya suffered a heart attack, but it could have been a different story, and the ambulance driver was alert. He said the driver was at the stands watching the game when Onya suddenly collapsed and the defender was deprived of oxygen for several minutes. David Onya was pronounced dead at the hospital about 30 minutes later. He told the Star newspaper Onya had only just joined the Malaysian club this season after spells in Uzbekistan and Azerbaijan. It's CoreTV Primetime News. Now a recap of our major headlines before we wrap this off. We told you that President Muhammadu Buhari on Saturday has directed the $21 million out of the pledge of $100 million be released to the multinational joint task force. We also brought you a report that the choir concerned citizens has warned against disrespecting the APC National Publicity Secretary Lai Mohammed. And of course, you heard on CoreTV News that the Lagos State chapter of the People's Democratic Party challenges Governor Akinwumi Ambode to declare his assets. And that's CoreTV Primetime News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Gift Ogete. You have a lovely, lovely night rest.